Why are so many women doing everything right and still not losing weight? You're eating better, trying to stay active, making an effort to stay consistent, maybe even saying no to things you used to enjoy, being more mindful than ever before. And still, your body just isn't changing the way it used to, and after a while, that stops feeling like a simple strategy problem. It starts to feel personal, like maybe there's something you're missing, or worse, like maybe you're the problem. And that thought, even if it's quiet, even if you don't fully admit it, it lingers because you know you're trying. You know you're putting in effort, and yet the results don't reflect that effort. There's a moment many women reach where things just feel different, slower, heavier, less responsive. You wake up, and your energy doesn't feel the same, not completely gone, but not as steady as it used to be. Some days you feel okay, other days you feel drained, even without doing much. And then there are cravings, not just hunger, but emotional cravings, the kind that show up when you're stressed, or tired, or just mentally exhausted. And even when you're aware of it, even when you try to control it, it still feels harder than before. And slowly, this creates a disconnect. Because you're putting in effort, but your body isn't responding the same way. And that's where frustration builds. Not just physically, but emotionally too. Because it starts to affect how you feel about yourself, your confidence, your motivation, even your sense of control. And over time, that can feel really heavy. A little while ago, I came across something called Java burn, and honestly, my first instinct was to ignore it. Because by this point, you've probably seen enough of these products that promise results, but don't really explain how, or make things sound easy without feeling realistic. And it's easy to become skeptical because you don't just want something new. You want something that actually makes sense. But something about this one made me pause, not because of big claims, but because of the way it approached the problem. Instead of focusing on restriction or pushing harder, it focused on something deeper: metabolism. And more importantly, how metabolism changes over time, especially for women. Because the truth is, your body isn't static. It changes. Hormones shift. Stress increases. Sleep patterns fluctuate. And all of these things affect how your body processes energy. So what worked before doesn't always work the same way later. Java burn is a tasteless powder that you mix into your morning coffee. That's it. No strict routine, no complicated system, and at first, that simplicity can feel almost too easy, because we're used to thinking that real results require something intense: strict plans, heavy workouts, constant discipline. But sometimes, the things that actually work long-term are the ones that fit naturally into your life. Because the easier something is to follow, the more likely you are to stick with it. And consistency is where real change happens. And this is where things start to connect. Because metabolism isn't just about calories. It affects how your body uses energy, how you feel throughout the day, how often you feel hungry, and even how your body responds to effort. So when metabolism slows down, it doesn't just show up on the scale. You feel it in your daily life. You feel more tired. You feel less motivated. You feel like your body is working against you. And that's where the real frustration comes from. Because it's not just about weight, it's about how you feel inside your own body. At this point, I started to see something differently. Maybe the problem isn't that you're not trying hard enough. Maybe the problem is that your body needs a different kind of support. Because instead of pushing harder, what if the better approach is supporting your body differently? And that's where this idea starts to make sense, because instead of fighting your body, it's working with it. And for many women, that shift alone can feel like a relief. When I looked into real experiences, what stood out wasn't dramatic transformations. It was the subtle, consistent changes. Some women described having more stable energy throughout the day, not a sudden burst of energy, followed by a crash, but a steady, balanced feeling. The kind where you can move through your day without feeling drained halfway through. Others mentioned something that felt even more important: feeling more in control of cravings. Not completely gone, but less intense, less automatic. That moment where you'd usually reach for something suddenly becomes a conscious choice, and that shift alone can make a big difference over time. Some also talked about feeling lighter, not just physically, but in how their body feels day to day. Less bloating, less heaviness, more comfort in their own skin. And over time, these small changes begin to add up. Clothes fit a little better. Energy feels more stable. Progress becomes visible, but in a gradual, natural way. And honestly, that kind of progress feels more sustainable because it doesn't rely on extremes. It builds slowly, but consistently. And it's important to say this clearly: this is not a miracle solution. It's not instant. And it's not something that replaces healthy habits. But if you already feel like you're trying, if you're putting in effort and your body just isn't responding the same way anymore, then something like this might offer a different kind of support, not by forcing change, but by helping your body function more naturally. And sometimes that small shift is enough to start seeing progress again. Women connection. And for women, this matters even more, because your body goes through changes, different phases, different challenges, and understanding that, instead of fighting it, can completely change your approach. One thing I did notice, though, is that there are fake versions being sold online. So if you do check it out, make sure it's from the official website. If you've been feeling stuck with your body and nothing seems to work anymore, this might be something worth trying. Right now, you can check the official website through the link in the description below. Sometimes they offer special deals or discounts depending on availability. So it's worth taking a look and seeing if it feels right for you, because sometimes these offers or bundles don't stay available for long.